For my button.
Yep. And then okay at the top. Greetings, everyone.
Hello. There we
Tea
go.
across the miles with Lady Amy of Houses of Windsor and Lady Nancy of Cup and Crown. So, I'm in
Hi.
the, hi, how are you?
How are you?
I was like, I'm in the usual Orlando area, Florida, and you are in Virginia, which
Yep.
is
Outside of Washington, D.C., one of the
outside of
suburbs,
DC.
yes, of D.C.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and you said the weather is lovely there today,
It
right?
really is. It's nice. It's a gorgeous summer day. It's really low humidity. Temperature's not too high. Good enough for pool, but not enough to melt. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a good,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good
Just the
then.
same.
Right. Let's see. It says it's 90 degrees outside. The high is 93 here, which to me, I'm like, oh, that's okay. Like that's not crazy. That's not too bad.
I seriously.
Like if the
I
high
know.
was 98, maybe that sounds hot.
I know we talk about, that should we move to Florida? And I'm like, let's check the temperature. No, we shouldn't. No. I
That's
pass out
great.
from a hot flash. So
That's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, when I look at the like I have my long list of like cities and stuff that I save for the weather app that I like to like look through. And it's
London, Dublin.
yeah, London's for sure in there.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Edinburgh.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's always like, oh, well, it's still better here. Like, I'd still
Yes.
rather be in this heat than whatever's happening elsewhere.
You never last in London for all their cold and all that stuff.
I know, I know. Well, especially now that I'm like adapted to Florida.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, I had to buy a jacket when I was there last May, like a long jacket that would be
I'm
like a
sorry.
fall
You've had to
jacket.
go shopping in London.
Yeah, and I got to do it at what do they call it? It was Tesco. I forget what the big one is that's called, but it's like oh, like what do they call the Targets that are like the everything? A super Target or whatever. It's kind of
Okay.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's sort of like a super Tesco, but so instead of just being grocery, they have like clothing and all of this
Okay.
like cool stuff. So I got
Cool.
to go shopping at
Nice.
on the second floor of Tesco.
Uh-huh. The extent of my shopping is going up to Harrods and or going into Fortnum and Mason and just looking at the things that I actually can't afford. So
Right.
mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
at Harrods, I was gonna say it's like what is it? The bottom floor, I think, is like the gift shop. Like it's like I just go, it's like, okay, I see what all these floors are where I can't shop.
Yes,
Like let's
yes,
go down to the basement.
exactly. I remember going into one of the restrooms and going, it's so elegant. It's just so
You know what?
elegant.
I should have done that more. I'm like,
Onto the
you know
bathroom.
what? Yeah, just gone to like bathrooms in the pretty places. I don't know what to think about it.
Oh no, actually, it was funny when I was walking through. I'm like, what if Diana shopped here? Diana must have
Oh
shopped
my
here.
gosh, I love
And I
it.
wonder, does she sneak in the back door? Which is kind of funny because the questions that we're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
start
yeah.
approaching, that's kind of one of them that I was talking.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but anyway, so what tea are you drinking today,
Okay,
darling?
yes. So we'll start with that. So tea I'm drinking is I picked an Earl Grey Crim today. That was
Oh
what I
my
was in the mood
gosh,
for.
I have Lady Grey.
Are you serious?
Yes, yes.
That's hilarious.
I need to send some to you. I'm gonna hold this up to the
Yeah.
camera. I got this. We went
Oh
to Naples.
yeah.
This
Oh my
Lady
gosh. And
Grey.
the a la Crim.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Same thing. So, yes, some vanilla note. There are the gorgeous little blue cornflowers. There are
Yeah.
actual, you can see that there are actual orange peel in there.
Yeah.
It is, actually it says lemon peel, not
Oh.
orange. And there is a lot of lavender in here. A lot
Oh,
of
okay. Oh,
very
nice.
feminine tea again. It's much lighter than the Earl Grey cream, which I
Right.
adore. But a nice lighter offering, if you make it light,
Yeah.
when I
Yeah, yeah,
double up
yeah.
on my tea. But yeah, cheers. Very
Well,
good.
wonderful. Cheers. That's so funny. I don't think we've ever actually picked like
A
had like a
similar,
tea matching day. Yeah.
I know, I know. So I just want to share real quick because I was
Yes.
just
Tell me your
floating around
tea. Yeah.
yesterday. This was just so fun. So, many times you and I, when we would exchange teas and we would give our evaluations of teas and we would talk about, okay, well, this one's light and this fruity and it starts
Right.
this and it finishes that. And that was a time that I was watching the wine show, hosted by Joe Fattorini. So if anybody's ever watched the show, and if you
Yeah.
haven't, unfortunately, you have to like subscribe to, I think it's BritBox or pretty sure it's BritBox and not
Oh,
Acorn.
okay.
But I was doing that. I was watching it, a lot of it through COVID too. His guests are always, it's his bestie, Matthew Good. Does anybody know? Do you know who Matthew Good
Oh,
is?
wait, is he the one? Is he in Downton? Is he
Yes,
the one that's
incredibly
like super?
debonair.
I
Yes,
feel like
yes,
I've looked at him before. We've talked about him before. Let me double check and make sure I know who it
absolutely, absolutely.
is. You
Get images here.
good.
This is the darling
Yes. Oh my
Matthew Good.
gosh, he's on it. I didn't know he was
Yes,
on it.
yes, him and the also very talented Matthew Riss. And I don't know if you would know anything from him now. If you did see Mr. Rogers, that's the closest thing I could get to people
No, I didn't see it.
knowing him. So this is
How do you
Matthew
spell?
Riss.
Oh, okay. He looks a
Um,
little familiar, but not.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know who else is is one of the guys that's on the show? Is the one who played Prince Charles in The Crown.
Really? Oh,
Older Prince Charles, yeah,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
can't Dominic
Yeah, I know. I
somebody,
forget.
yes. Anyway, so Joe Fattorini is friends with these guys and he pulls them in and they do these he gives them a challenge to find
Right.
a wine that signifies this particular city, whether it's Florence or Rome or something, it's a region of France, whatever. And I really enjoyed the show. And I know I remember bringing up one particular episode where he had gone to I think it was Japan,
Hmm.
and they were talking about different taste palettes and things like that. So I remember quoting it. So yesterday he had this excellent post. Actually, it was Monday and Sunday. So they're just finishing up wine week in England.
Oh. Oh,
So he
amazing.
had these posts every day. And one of the posts talked about how Princess Margaret, who is Queen Elizabeth's sister,
Yes.
was one of the actual first people. She was actually the first person to create and cultivate an urban wine. And she had these grapes that she was growing in Kensington Palace.
Oh my gosh.
I know, very cool. And then she paid a vintner to process and actually sell. And he said, was it last year, a couple years ago, 3 of the bottles came up for sale and it was mislabeled as a possible Riesling, but these were actually grapes that Princess Margaret had grown and only so many bottles were available
Right. Oh
from
my
it.
gosh.
And so he's telling me this, and then he talks about how really cool this is because the best friend that he has on the wine show, Matthew Good, actually plays the husband
Oh,
of Princess Margaret. And I was like, wow, this is practically a perfect,
right.
a wonderful post is the excellent Joe Fattorini talking about wine, talking about Princess Margaret and royals, talking about Matthew Good and the Crown.
Yeah.
It was just all these things. So I reposted it to my story.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I'm like, within a half an hour, I get a personalized message on my Instagram from
So
Joe
amazing.
Fattorini. And I
That's
was,
so amazing.
what?
Yeah.
This is so cool. I think he's a swell guy anyway. So he writes me and
Yes.
he says, it's mad, isn't it?
Oh my
And,
gosh.
or isn't it mad? And
Yeah.
I put him back and I'm like, it's brilliant, excellent post. And I'm like
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Oh my
person.
God.
Can I have your phone number? Can I
Yeah.
text you?
Right.
Can
Like,
you introduce me to Matthew?
yeah. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So he texts me back and he says, I realize this is content tailor-made for you and your business. So he looked me up a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
If you search my Substack, have you heard this? This is a whole other
I've heard of Substacks from my
okay.
podcast people. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he has Substack, which I didn't know. He says, you'll love the post from Sunday, free to read, that has some more of this sort of thing.
Oh my gosh.
And so I wrote him back and I said, wow, thank you so much. I truly enjoyed the wine show and have actually discussed your brilliant content several times in my monthly online teas. I especially found your trip to Asia not only interesting, but useful when describing the flavor wheel for various teas. Thanks for very interesting and fun education about wine. And then I put in parentheses, and from one Catholic to another, God bless, because he said in one of
Oh
the
yeah.
episodes he was a practicing Catholic.
Oh nice.
In his final word, he says, this is amazing.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, don't respond.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You're like,
Oh,
let him have
let
the
him have
last
the last
word.
word. And then I go back and he's following me now.
That's so cool.
It is freaking cool.
That's
It's
amazing.
probably out of politeness, and he's got some reminder on his phone to go, okay, remember to unfollow Cup and Crown in 3 days or
Yeah.
something.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But now I'm like looking at all of my posts through the eyes of Joe Fan. I'm like, this better be good.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're like,
Be
if he's gonna
relevant or
see
he's gonna
this. Yeah.
unfollow
Yeah.
me.
That's amazing. That's so funny.
So cool. I was like
That's
floating
awesome.
around on cloud 9 yesterday.
Right. Right.
Like, oh, Fattorini recognized me.
That's so cool. Oh my goodness. Well, and I was texting you this week that I was excited because I recently found a show called The Period. Or sorry, The
The
Period, The
Paradise.
Paradise. Yeah. I was thinking a period piece. It's a period piece drama.
It is a period piece,
Um,
yes.
but The Paradise. Oh, I see
I'm
some.
sorry, we're gonna get photobombed real quick. Somebody needs to go out.
Hey, Jackie.
Can you say hello?
Hi!
Hi. How are you?
I'm watching a Barbie today.
You're doing what?
I'm watching Barbie.
You're watching.
Watching Barbie. Oh, that's awesome. I love Barbie.
Good. You need to make some lunch. Can you make some lunch for yourself?
Yes.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
You
do
look
that?
pretty. I like your outfit.
Thanks.
You're
Already
welcome.
graduate though.
She wants to, she tells everybody she's graduated 6th grade. She's
That-
finished her elementary school.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes.
Can you see
Yeah.
how is Piper?
How was Piper?
She's good. Thanks for asking. She's going to like summer camp stuff this year or this
Oh,
summer.
good.
Like
Good.
daytime summer camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
So,
stuff. Fun stuff.
so
All right.
thanks.
You ready to go? Go make your lunch. You gonna watch Barbie?
Bye.
sweetheart. Typical photobomb.
Sweet.
Anyway, so yes, so you're watching The
Yes,
Paradise.
The Paradise, yes. And so it was, yeah, so I know you happened to watch it. And so for those of you who don't know, it's on Amazon Prime. I think it came out around 2013-ish, somewhere in there. And I was surprised. So I'm always finding just what I call like random period piece dramas that I haven't heard of on Amazon Prime. And that's
Sure.
usually what I go for. So versus something that is known. Like,
Right.
I'll just find random ones. Like I literally just watched one after that was called Lily, and it was filmed in 1979. It's one series.
Okay.
It's very good, but it's like just funny to me that I'm like, oh, this is like an old filming.
I
But
love the older ones. No,
yeah, I know.
yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
they're really
So
great stuff from the 70s and 80s that I've actually gone and gone back and watched. And some of them, they're so good. I bought them and I pull
oh,
them
yeah,
out once a year, once every 2 years, and watch them
I
again.
love it.
So good.
So yeah, so the Paradise though was exciting because the character who plays Clara is played by my friend Sonia Cassidy, who is my friend because of Claire in England. And so I've known Sonia now since 2018 was when we went and stayed in England in like an Airbnb for New Year's. And that's when I first met Sonia. And like for the first few days that we were there, first couple days, I didn't know anything about her really. And like we were standing washing dishes together. I'm like, so what do you do? She's like, well, I'm an actress. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, what do you do? What are you in? She's like, well, I was in like, or I've been in this show or I'm filming this or whatever. And at the time it was Lodge 49, which I think was on like AMC or something. Um, but or A&E, I don't know, one of those. But it was, oh gosh, Bruce Campbell was in it. He wasn't like the main star, but he had like cameos in it. I don't know if you know who Bruce Campbell is. He
Oh,
was
I was gonna
so he
show.
was oh my yes, there's Sonia.
So
Yay.
lovely. And
Great picture.
she was my favorite character on The Paradise. I love
Yes, she had such a
I was
great
like,
character. She
go back to
played
her.
I know she played so well. But so yeah, so that was it was funny. So I started watching her in like Lodge 49 when I got back and stuff. And then she was in The Last Kingdom in season 5. So that's when I started watching that show and fell in love with that show. And so this is the first time that I've found her on accident in a show. And it was just really cool to see. So I messaged her on WhatsApp to tell her that I found her. And she was like, oh my goodness, that's lovely. I didn't know that was even still available like anywhere. And asked her, you know, what she's doing. So actually our friend Claire is getting married to Joe on Friday this week. So I'm missing it.
Oh, I'm so
But I
sorry.
think yeah, so I told Sonia, I was like, well, I won't be there like to see you.
You
But
said Friday?
yeah, Friday. Yeah, the
Oh,
28th.
all
So
right.
she's but she's currently in Toronto filming season 3 of Reacher. So she's in that show, which I haven't watched, but I know a couple people that
Yeah.
really like the show. I just
It's
haven't
more
gotten
of
to
a
it yet.
guy's show, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
more.
say. The two guys that I know, it's like two guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but she is just the loveliest person ever and so sweet. And you know, of course, asked about my tea business and Piper and
That's
whatever.
awesome.
Just talks So regular.
I'm flashing back to Notting Hill when Julia Roberts, her character, comes to dinner at Hugh Grant's house. Do you remember
Mhm.
this? He brings her as a
I
date.
haven't seen it in so long. Yeah.
Well, and one of his buddies, who's like some financial person, whatever, played by Hugh Bonneville, who is
Yeah.
Lord Grantham of Downton Abbey.
Oh,
And he's like, oh, so what do you do? And she's like, I'm an actress.
oh, right.
Oh, brilliant. What have you been in? Would we know anything? She said, I'm in a number of things. He says, oh yeah, because I've done some acting too. He says, but but the salary, it's highway robbery, don't you think? Like your last film, what did you make? And she says, $16 million. He's like, oh, well, that's pretty good then, isn't it?
That's excellent. Yeah,
That
that's
was
like,
so great.
exactly, that's like how it goes. Yeah, you're like, oh, you're an actor. Like, okay, well, tell me more.
Right, right.
Like you don't
Is
even
this
realize it.
is this a good segue to if we could meet?
Yes, that's a
Wanna
great
you wanna do
segue.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna check real quick to see it. Okay, it
Sure.
wasn't Mumsy. I had a text. I was making sure it wasn't Mumsy.
Yeah, right, right.
Um, but
I'm wondering if I'm gonna
so
get a thumbs up here pretty soon too. Where's my thumbs up? I want my
I know.
thumbs
I
up.
think you have to, it's usually when you hold your thumb up, right? Isn't that when it
No,
should?
I thought I did it after.
Oh, I don't
I
know.
don't usually walk around my thumb up,
I
right?
know, but I feel like it's always like it looks like you're gesturing or whatever, and it almost looks like a thumbs up, and that's when
Interesting.
I don't
Interesting.
know.
It's not me doing this, I can tell you.
Right?
Pinky's down.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I always feel bad. So I've stopped correcting people about pinkies outside of tea parties. So like when people find out I do tea and they get so excited, like, oh, I love tea. And they're like, and I always know, I always remember like pinkies up. And I'm like,
Mm. I do
because
correct.
they just want to relate, it's like
Absolutely.
this isn't a teaching moment.
Absolutely.
So like
Absolutely. No,
have
I've
your fun.
actually, when people tell me, oh yeah, I've gone to high tea in London. And I'm like, ugh, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, where did you go? What did you
Right.
have? That's so great. I said, I said, if you don't mind me telling you the
Right.
difference between high tea and afternoon tea, because I think what you're describing is actually afternoon tea. And
Oh, nice.
here's a little trivia that you can share with your friends. I'm sure they hate me,
That's
and
but that's still a great way to say it instead of like just like shutting it down.
well, it depends on who you're talking to. I have good friends, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have high tea." I'm like, "Honey, it's not high tea.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, yeah,
Shut
yeah.
up.
But
It's
I
not
mean,
high
like, just like people, like, especially like at the markets, right? I'm like meeting lots of
Yes.
people
Oh
where
no
it's
no
just
no no no
like a quick
no. No.
interaction, right? I'm not
Yes.
gonna
Hand
like,
me the money, and then I'm gonna correct you. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna like be, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna
absolutely.
make them feel bad.
Right. Before we go, now
Yes.
I sent some questions to Amy. I meant to bring this up on a last tea. It was still on I keep a list of things to
I
bring up
love
to
it.
Amy. There was Secrets of the Dead excavations on Althorpe. Well, Althorpe is the Spencer property. So Diana Spencer, Lady Diana,
Oh, yeah.
Princess Diana, her brother, who is unfortunately finalizing a divorce after 14 years. It's so sad. But their property, it's been in their family obviously for hundreds of years.
Right.
They've been doing an excavation on it, and they were finding it's really interesting. I think you can find it on PBS, I think.
Okay.
They actually found some uh uh Norse, is it Norse? Whatever it is, like ancient,
Yeah.
ancient traces on the land of like really old prehistoric and Roman relics and things.
Oh
So,
gosh,
so
that's
if anybody's
awesome.
interested in the, history and stuff like that. The other thing was a fabulous. This is also Secrets of the Dead, that there are people out there trying to put forward evidence that the two princes in the tower were not murdered.
What?
And it was compelling to watch. The question I still come up with is, then whose two young skeletons did they find buried in the stairs at the Tower of London?
Right. Right.
But if you were to go through and watch this, it was fascinating to
That's
see
crazy.
that
So
these
what's it called?
Secrets of the Dead.
Secrets of the Dead. And you
Secrets-
say that's on PBS or something?
I believe that was on PBS, and if I can
Okay.
find that, I will send a link to you
Yeah.
or
Okay.
put it out there to share.
Yeah.
So people were asking, could we get DNA, and what better DNA than from the Queen?
Oh, right.
Yeah, this,
Right.
passed through, and it was denied. And so there's
Oh,
a part of you that's like, well, come on, just, think about that. if the queen gave her DNA,
Right.
where do you think that goes?
Uh,
Everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah.
When my husband did his DNA test, he got a
Yeah.
result back saying you're related to this person, this person, this
Yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If the queen, anybody in the royal family puts out this DNA saying,
Right.
yes, we relate to this, can you imagine
Oh,
the
sure. Yeah, all the
all,
stuff that's gonna
all
come
these other
out.
people? I mean, think about King Charles II, who had how many illegitimate heirs?
Right, right.
You know, how many people coming forward, and that crackpot who thinks that he's related to, you know, that he's King Charles and Camilla's secret son.
Oh, right. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yeah. So I, you know, at first I was like, come on, you know, the historian me was like, we want to know, why can't you just? And then I was like, oh, that makes really good sense.
But also, yeah, but it's also like maybe don't open that can of worms.
Yeah, don't
Like,
open that because I can't even imagine where that would
just
go.
let some things in history be mysteries.
Absolutely. So, but going back to brushes of fame, I texted Amy earlier this week, a series of questions. And the first one is, if you could meet with one royal, dead or alive, who would it be? Who would be your backup royal? So you
Okay.
get a second one, but who is
Right.
the top of your list?
So, the top of my list is going to be Prince William, and that is because he is my original love. He's my original gateway into the royal family.
Right?
Uh, he's been in my heart for 24 years now.
Yes.
And I understand that we all age differently, but I still think it would be absolutely lovely to hang out with him.
Sure.
As far as a backup, I was having trouble with coming up with a backup, and I will say that I think I would end up picking uh Queen Victoria, but when Prince Albert was still alive, so she's not like
Morose,
a morose widow.
moribund.
Although so I was talking to Dylan about this, and I told him, I mean, if she would be open to talking about her life experiences towards the end, right? I was like, but if she, I guess I'll talk to her as a widow, right?
Right, right.
But it's like, but if she's pretty, buttoned up or whatever, I would pick her then when Albert's still around.
Right. The younger Victoria, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how about you? What is your answer?
I think you already know too. It would be Catherine.
Okay. Oh, sure.
I would love to meet Catherine. I would love to. So that my second question was, is there a particular activity that you would want to do with that particular royal? Now, let me say my backup would be Queen Elizabeth. I think
Okay, good. I was gonna ask. I was like, wait, you didn't say backup. Okay.
that was a tough choice. There's so many because
Right.
William would be fun to talk to, but and I was trying to go back in time too. Is there, Princess Diana? Would you things like
Right. Right.
no, I think I'd like to actually sit down and talk with the Queen. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that would be remarkable. So is there a particular activity
Yeah.
in your meeting? The
Right.
first
Right.
get
What
to,
we would go to. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
would you do? And I said, would you go for a walk? Would you go to Disney? Would you go
I love
shopping? Would
it.
you have tea? What would you do to engage with that royal? What would be a
I
beautiful?
know. I'm like trying to
Yeah.
think. I'm like, what would be something? I'm gonna say we would go for drinks because that way I'll get let loose a little bit.
Right, right.
Yeah, so we can go to, I'm trying to think if I would want to go to just a regular pub or if I'd want to go somewhere that had like more cocktails, maybe more of a cocktail place.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
yeah. Not just for him, but like for myself. I'm like, what do
Right.
I want to? Yeah.
Sure. And the pub is kind of busy. Cocktail is more like you stay at your table. The pub is very interactive.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
really, oh gosh, what was the place that we went to when I was there last time? And it was a very well-known bar for martinis, especially like their dry gin martinis. I'll have to look it up at some point and see. But it's very pricey and it's very fancy. So I think we'll go there and he'll be a gentleman and he'll pay for it.
Yeah, he has a little more money than you too. So yeah. If he didn't, then
Right. Or maybe it'll be on the house because they've got the prince there.
That's true. Could happen. Could happen. Rich just get richer.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So,
excellent.
okay, so that's what I'll do. Yeah, with him. Queen Victoria, what would we do? I'll say we'll walk through the gardens or something. That seems like something that they always do
Right?
back then.
Would you not want to sit and have tea? Would it be like a long, nice, long private afternoon tea?
Yeah, I think maybe I would like the afternoon tea, but I feel like back then it feels like it was so it just seems like it's more stiff than like the
Okay,
afternoon tea of
fair,
today.
fair.
So so I would say thinking of all my, period piece dramas, I would say we'll go for a walk in the gardens and then there will be a picnic ready for us on the lawn and we'll have a picnic.
Oh, that sounds nice. Very nice. Yeah, if we're gonna go, we're just gonna go all the way, right?
Exactly. Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah. So what are you going to do with
Catherine?
what are you and Catherine gonna do?
No, I'm kidding. Um, I would want to have tea and
Yeah.
and take a walk. It doesn't have to be fancy,
Right.
3 cake stand,
Yeah, yeah.
things like that, because I don't think she eats sugar anyway.
Yeah.
That would just be embarrassing for me. So, um, but no, I think I would definitely want to just sit and have a nice casual tea, and possibly go for a walk. Um, with Elizabeth, it would probably be the same thing,
The same thing.
walk in the
Yeah.
garden, but let's sit down, have tea and chat kind of thing.
Right, right.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I think that
Oh.
would be fun. So what was that?
That was my computer was dinging for something else, probably an email, but
Mm.
I didn't know that it would come through.
Okay. Okay. It wasn't my thumbs up. Okay.
Nope.
Um, so for either of your royals, would you dare to make tea and offerings for him or her? And
Right.
if so, what would you serve?
Okay. I would dare to with William because I think he is of the generation where he just can be cooler and laid back and not particular, right? Like depending on the situation.
Right.
And so like he's, roughed it before or whatever on various trips. So
Right.
I think he can rough it with like a tea from me. Um, so what would I serve though?
Particular tea.
Maybe, yeah, I was like, maybe I would, I'd serve a couple. So I think I would go and do the cherry rose green tea because
Mhm.
that's like one of my favorites. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he probably hasn't had that before. Since they
chance.
don't usually venture out in their tea flavors.
Right. Right.
And then maybe I would have just a standard breakfast blend tea or something as well
Mhm.
for maybe something that he's used to or Earl Grey.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
Anything?
I don't think I would venture to do anything for Queen Victoria.
Yeah, I think in that day and age,
Yeah, in that day and age, it was like, unless I'm traveling back and I have my own hired servants, that I'm like, hey, I
yes,
asked my servants to make this for us.
right, right.
Like my
Absolutely.
cook made this.
No, I'd want to be treated. You're in
Right.
the palace, for crying out loud. Why not?
Right,
Right.
right.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
So, would you serve Catherine or
Yes.
Queen Elizabeth?
I would serve Catherine. I think if I served Elizabeth, she would be polite.
Sure. Well, that's true. She would be
Um,
polite. Yeah.
So I would probably do a mix of the golden monkey tea with some
Oh
Chinese
yeah.
green
Yeah.
tea.
Yeah.
Not going too frou-frou, not too fruity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would make scones. I think I would. I think I would venture to
Oh
try to make English cream scones with the clotted cream and the jam and put that
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
I
think
love
that's
it.
with either one of them I would probably do.
That's-
What burning question or questions would you want to ask your royal?
Oh gosh. So you even gave me these questions ahead of time, and I'm still like not sure what I would ask him. I feel like I would want so with William and maybe Victoria if she depending on how playful she'd be. I'm like I would want to ask William some of my silly fun questions like do you have any ghost or alien stories? Like tell me,
Oh, that would
I
be
want to
fun.
know those kinds of like
Yeah.
things that are outside of the normal royal questions.
Right, right.
And yeah, and then just kind of see where that goes, or maybe find out like what his like, secret obsession is, or like what's something that he like, fanboys out about that like isn't well known. It doesn't have to be like top secret, but
Mhm.
something that we don't, it's not, can't be one of your charities, it can't be like work or royal duties, right? It's like, what's your like thing that you really like? Is there a TV show? What,
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
Cool.
so, yeah, Victoria, I wonder, yeah, I'm trying to think, aliens were probably not a thing, like, right? I mean, I don't know if aliens were like really talked about.
They were talking aliens, they were talking about people from other countries, not,
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like, and then, let's see, the ghost, I'm trying to think, it was sort of in the Victorian era when people started like the spiritualist
Very true.
stuff kind of was going, right? So I wonder if I think, didn't she play with some of that once she was a widow, or do you remember?
I don't recall. I don't
Okay.
recall. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe she tried
Right.
to like, try to
Little
communicate with
seances
Albert.
or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe they were kept quiet.
True,
So,
true.
yeah. But it seems like something that would make sense for her at the time and
Yep, I
her
would agree. Yeah,
situation.
sure.
But yeah, so I'd say I would try to come up with like conversational topics that are unusual. That's what I would do.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Without
how about
scaring them
you?
off. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I have several. So for Catherine especially, um, do you ever get to clothes shop alone? And this goes back to what we were talking about with Harrods.
Oh yeah.
Do they sneak her in a back way?
Mm-hmm.
Does she just have shoppers that do it for her, bring her, what she wants,
Right.
things are, if I say the word bespoke,
Sure.
which watching the Paradise, certainly you understand.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
bespoke, BESPOKA.
Bespoke.
Okay, we do
Yes.
not use that word here in America.
Nope.
And that means tailor-made, custom fit.
Customized.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Okay, sure. I think
Yes,
maybe
not off the rack. Yeah.
correct. I would want to know what's Catherine's favorite tea. Does she just grab the PG tips and toss it in? Does she
Oh,
prefer,
right.
something like Darjeeling, Assam?
Right.
How adventurous is she in her tea selection? Probably not, but I'd be
Right.
and I would definitely ask her, you don't take sugar in your tea, do you? That's how you stay looking like you do. I'd want to know if she's ever had iced tea, and that
Oh,
when they came to America, what did they eat that
oh,
early
right.
trip after they got married? Do you remember that? They came,
Right. Yeah.
what did they eat, and did you like it?
Right. Like, yeah, what's like an American dish that
Yes,
particularly like?
yes, a
Yeah.
barbecue, hot dog, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking like macaroni and cheese. I feel like that's a lot of things that like the
Yes.
Brits say. We're a
Yes, or
macaroni and
big
cheese
fat
place.
hamburger, which you can get over in the UK now too. I mean, a lot of those
Right.
transatlantic. Um, and most of all, I would love to hear from her about was it and is it still so mind blowing that you are now a royal and going to be the
Oh,
queen of
right.
it? I mean, how does it sometimes you just wake up and go, who am I and how did I get here?
Right.
I'd love to hear from her on that.
That's a good question. Yeah, I guess I would want to ask them both, William and Catherine, is there like, do you guys meditate? Is there something that you do, like, practice mindfulness, all the things
Yes.
people do now to sort of center themselves,
Mm-hmm.
especially for, we'll say William with all just his whole history and like everything that like goes into him being him, but then Catherine coming from like a completely different world, basically, right? And like all of a sudden being thrown into the royal family,
Right.
she's eased in, but still,
Yes.
I would think you would have to practice something, because if you're just constantly going, like, I don't know how
Yeah,
long that
especially
can.
with the situation right now. Especially,
Right,
what
exactly.
are their healing mechanisms? What are they doing to, to stay positive and not be swallowed up by
Right.
I know they say they're not rocks or what are they? They're not celebrities, but I'm sorry, in this culture they are. They
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
are.
it's like you're just a
Trust it.
different level of a
Yeah.
celebrity. You're definitely a different breed, yeah, of celebrity.
Yeah.
And I guess I would want to know too if like if they're ever together, just like the two of them, and just sort of like talk sometimes like, isn't it weird? Like, isn't it kind of crazy that like this is what our job is, like this is what we do, you know? Like Prince William's
Mhm.
born into it, she's signed on for it. Like, do they ever
Right.
just kind of sit back and are like, this is kind of funny though, right?
Right, because they're
They're the only ones they could talk to about it.
but very true.
Right.
Because well, especially with her background, she's a little more normal. I'm not going to say normal so much because I mean, her dad still came from a lot of money.
Yeah, but she's a
Earned a lot
common.
of money.
She's
Yes, yeah,
not noble blood.
exactly. Uh, they have, at least they present themselves in more of a way that is more in touch with the common man, the average person.
Right.
Do they ever sit back and go, wow, we really are, our lifestyle is sort of out of touch with everything. I think they're more in touch with it, but
Right.
what a
Right.
it's another question I think I would want to ask is,
Mhm.
how much does it feel like a burden to never complain, never explain?
Oh, right.
How do they carry that and in their everyday, especially when I hate to say it, but when Harry's out there blasting whatever
Right.
he wants to.
Well, right. And that makes me think also that like, yeah, like, do you guys have therapists, right? Like, aside
Right.
from practicing your own mindfulness or meditation, like, who are you talking to? And I feel like there would always be even if you had a therapist that you trusted, there'd always be this worry that like someday though they might write a book, like
Yeah.
like they
Keep the
might
diary.
break their oath and like
Yes.
yeah,
Right.
so it's like so you can't even necessarily trust anyone, but you can't go your whole life not trusting anyone, so they just
No,
have to kind of
absolutely. Yes,
suck it up and do it.
exactly. And what a limited circle of friends that you are allowed to
Right,
have. I mean,
right.
wow. I mean, and how hard that is to be a friend to them. And,
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, also just being a friend of theirs. Yeah,
yeah,
like that's taking on a lot.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, if you could be granted a special privilege with this particular royal, what would that be? Examples might be attending a royal
Right.
wedding, attending a coronation, being a forever pen pal, getting a personal tour of a palace or home. What would you want? What would you hope to?
So, it literally just occurred to me as you were like throwing out examples, as I was like, I would like an open invitation to visit annually. Stay with them.
Dream big, absolutely. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I'd want to be the confidant, not that I could somehow be placed above her sister or anything like that, but it would be,
Sure. But like
the
someone that like you can trust. Yeah, you're not gonna
pen pal, but
yeah.
I like how you phrased it,
The open invitation, just
open
like, yeah, come
invitation.
back
Yeah.
and visit. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Anytime, stay with us. Bring
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Bring your friend Nancy.
Exactly. So that's so funny. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was so fun. That was such a fun
That was so
exercise.
fun. Exactly. Dangerous but fun at the same time. So Royal Ascot well, let's go back. Tripping of the Colors. Tripping of the Colors.
Yes.
Catherine has made her long-awaited appearance.
She looked amazing. I
She was
loved
amazing. I
her
don't.
outfit and her hat.
Now, did you see? I don't know. I did too. Absolutely. I loved it. But I also thought it was I had to put it out there.
Yeah.
If anybody saw my particular
I'll
post,
have to look on Instagram.
I'll show it. I'm going to show it to you.
Okay.
If I can pull it up here. Come on.
Um,
Okay. Yes, she looked amazing, but I immediately, with the tilt of her hat and the black
yes,
and white bow, she
yes.
looked like Eliza Doolittle from
Oh
My
my
Fair
gosh.
Lady.
Oh, I feel like there's no way that that was a mistake or from the designer,
Right?
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 Like
Don't you
that's
feel like
way too
somebody's like,
similar.
yes, and that is an iconic look. That is an iconic dress.
Right,
And
right.
that is a show that people still watch.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I don't mean to
I
belittle
love
it. I don't. I love
no,
I love
yeah.
the dress.
I
I
love
love
it.
In fact, that was the post, actually, the one that Joe Federini liked. He liked that, of
What?
all the posts, that's the one he
Oh my
liked.
gosh.
And yeah, because I put big headlines, Catherine is my fair lady.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my friends that live in England with whom we stayed the last time, I texted her at
Yeah.
the end of her day, and I'm like, when I had seen it, was like, oh, I'll bet they did. And so I texted, and I'm like, all I said was, did you go today?
Right.
And she started sending me back pictures. Yes, she did. She saw them. She said it rained. I didn't care. And then was it the next day or 2 days later? And I'm like, did you go to Royal Ascot?
Right.
Oh my gosh, her response was so funny. I gotta find this.
Yes. And you sent me her pictures and I said, I'm saving these in my phone just so that it's like I have personal pictures of them in my phone.
That was
I'm not
hilarious.
posting them.
That
It's
was
just
hilarious.
so that I know I have them.
First-hand pictures. That's so great. So I
Yes.
said, did you attend Royal Ascot? She said, skipping it this year
Oh my God.
for a formal at Military Yacht Club.
Oh my gosh.
And she says, I've never had so many prom nights with a big LOL
Oh
crying.
my gosh.
And that's her life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Two most down to earth people. This is not like, oh, hoity
Sure,
toity.
sure.
But she says Friday is military day for Ascot. And then she says last year, and she sends me this. I love this. My friends, and first of all, I love her hat. My friends are on
Oh,
Alamy.
oh my gosh.
Alamy. Greg
That's
Leland.
awesome.
Yes,
And
Ascot,
that is a beautiful hat.
UK, 23 June. Captain Gregory Leland. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, making it
right.
difficult. And she writes hee hee ha ha. And I said, shut up. Alamy hates you. I love it. And you look awesome. You like you belong there. And she says, done it and fun, but looking forward to another truly British experience. And I wrote her back, isn't the only thing left for you to do is have tea with Charles? And I said, and you better freaking invite me if that happens. And she
Right.
writes back, she says, I'll get it sorted. If ever I get an invite, you'll be my you'll be my first thought for
Yeah,
plus
yeah, yeah.
one.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah,
That's so fun.
and living the life, damn it.
Oh my gosh. No
I love you,
kidding.
Kristen. I hate you, Kristen.
That's so fun. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
love that.
So
Yeah.
how do you think Catherine looked? Because there were and it's totally unofficial, a lot of headlines the next day
Yeah.
saying that took a lot out of her. How do you know? And
Yeah, I was like, I feel like it would take a lot out of the average human being. Like,
right?
that's a big day.
Without going through chemotherapy and having
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought she looked great. I mean, she looked great, and
I did-
honestly, to me, she looked as she always has.
I agree. I didn't think she looked
Like,
ill.
because she's always been thin, so like, it's like
Yes.
the same. She looked great, and I liked, I sent you like the video of like someone put clips together of Prince Louis's like greatest
Oh
moments,
my gosh, it's
Trooping the Color.
hilarious. That
And
child.
when he was like doing something silly on the balcony, and like I loved it because I saw Kate behind him, like she's like trying not to laugh, like she's smiling at him being like silly, right? So it's not like
Right.
mom being like, oh my God, it's like, okay, that's a bit like that's pretty cute.
Yeah. Yes.
So it looked like she was at least enjoying herself at
Yes.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I liked that. And let's see. So I'm trying to think if I listened to the podcast yet on it. But this was the big deal about it, aside from Catherine, was that Charles was riding in a carriage, right, with Camilla, not riding on a horse. Wasn't that a big
Oh,
deal?
I didn't see that. I didn't think
Yeah,
about
I
that
think,
because
yeah, I remember they were talking about it ahead of time that he was not going to be, cleared to ride on a horse, and he needed to, yeah, hang back in the carriage with Camilla, which, I guess is like a big deal traditionally, but
right.
I would think it'd be nice to hang back in the carriage.
I know. It's
You know.
rain was impending, and actually it did
Right.
rain that day too. So yes.
Right. And then I know this is past now, but the D-Day celebrations, I need to look into this because I thought that I had heard on my Royal podcast that Charles and William and Camilla were all at like whatever ceremony happened in England, but then I thought in France Charles stayed behind because they thought it was too much travel and it was just William and Camilla. And I say that because I haven't watched all the footage, but I was like loosely listening to my Royally Obsessed podcast. And like,
Mhm.
so I talked about this with Trevor on Tea Time a couple weeks ago or whatever it was. And then my Mumsy, was telling me, she's like, I thought he was there. I could have sworn he was there.
I could swear that I'm looking this up.
Really? Okay. So
swear
yeah,
he
so
was
let me
there.
know if I'm wrong because I posted it anyway.
I thought I saw a picture of him with Biden.
Or maybe they said that maybe it was like talking in advance and they were, discussing if he would be allowed to travel. Maybe I misheard like what actually happened versus what the plans might have been. But it's like I saw Camilla with the First Lady of France.
Oh, that was a big faux pas.
Yeah. But it also, like, Trevor and I talked about that too. I know you and I texted about it, but as far as the First Lady trying to hold Camilla's hand at like the memorial, and Camilla, I thought it was done well on both parts because basically Camilla didn't like jerk her hand away.
No,
She
she
held it
didn't.
for a couple seconds.
Yes, and then let
pulled
go.
it away. Yeah,
Because it
and then let
wasn't
it.
her and it wasn't scripted. Yeah,
Right.
I hear you. I hear you.
So I thought it was, and I thought the French are, more touchy-feely than the Brits anyway. And I was like saying to Trevor, it's like I feel like if it was an American thing, the average American, I feel like you would be expected to kind of like, hold hands because they're women. I said if they were men, you would not expect them to be holding hands, in
Good point.
solidarity or out of like, on this emotional level.
Right,
But
right.
because they're ladies,
Yes,
it doesn't seem as strange, like,
I
at least-
agree.
yeah,
That's totally true.
yeah.
I think what it was, I think they were in two different places. It says that Charles was in, oh shoot, I just had it. What's my CNN? I can't find, I think they were just in two different places. I think
Okay.
William was at the beach
Okay.
of Normandy, and I think Charles was in a different place at Normandy is
Okay.
what I'm looking
Gotcha.
at here, I think. So, because it says that William got the greater role, which
Right.
would have been right there on the beach.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they did that. I don't know. Like it was just more feasible for William to do that bit
Right,
or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Some nastiness. Oh, I'm sorry if you're gonna keep going.
No, that's fine. I was just gonna, yeah, I've got other things that like Trevor and I have talked about recently that I'll
Sure.
touch base with you on.
Oh, no,
but
no,
yeah,
I'd
but
love to
you-
hear.
Yeah,
No,
tell me
just
what you've got.
more
Yeah.
cattiness that when Catherine did finally make her long-awaited appearance,
Mhm.
that it supposedly was the same day that Meghan announced on her American Riviera website something about some dog biscuits that she's going to be selling, and people were saying that was a
Like a slight or like a
yeah, exact slight. Thank
Yeah,
you. That's
yeah.
what I'm looking for. A slight to Catherine.
Why? Just because she did it on the same day?
That's because she did it on the same day. And I mean, I feel so bad for this woman. She either gets truly, people love me press, or truly they are
Yeah.
so willing to take me down for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just garbage. That
And
really does
if anything, it's like it's not about like we sort of made that day about Catherine, but that's not really Catherine's day. Like, if anything,
true. It was
Charles is getting overshadowed by Catherine's return.
yes,
Like it's his
absolutely.
parade.
It's his parade. That's an excellent point, Amy.
Right.
Hey,
And
I'm gonna,
to act like Meghan did it for Catherine, it's like, well,
yeah.
they planned it for the Trooping the Color Day.
No. And then there are the rumors that Harry's trying to find a place back in the UK, and I don't know. And then I read other things that debunk that and say that's not possible. So I don't know. I just and then I did read one yesterday, and I should have sent it to myself so I could read it again. It was a headline saying something like that Charles may travel to the US to see his grandchildren.
Oh, okay.
But then people were saying, well, yeah, but if he does it, he may do it. It was
Yeah.
it was a clickbait headline that
Sure.
had no real follow-up,
Right.
So I hate to do this. Give me a second. I'm just gonna go put eyes on my daughter.
Oh yeah, no
Amy,
problem.
talk
All
about
right, I'll
something, and I'll
talk.
be right back. Let me just
I'll tell everyone what I'm gonna ask you.
Okay. I want to get back.
Okay, the things that I'm going to talk to Nancy about that we talked about with Trevor are Prince Andrew's living situation with Charles wanting him out of his place that he has signed a 75-year lease for. And then let's see, what else have Trevor and I talked about? Hey, she's back. Perfect.
Jackie's becoming very independent and she was able to make her own lunch.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, it is great. It's great.
That's
I'm sorry. So
lovely.
what are you going to ask me? What is
Yes. Okay. So what I was going to bring up was, have you heard about Prince Andrew's living situation and Charles wanting him out of the Royal Lodge, and that there's a 75-year lease in place? Do you know about the lease?
No, no, isn't
It's
he at
insane.
Frogmore? Is he at Frogmore? I thought he was
No.
he's living with Sarah. Don't
So
they
yeah,
still live
so
together?
I had thought for whatever reason he was at Frogmore. So actually she's living with him at a place called Royal Lodge.
Okay.
And he signed a 75-year lease about 25 years ago, so there's like 15 years to go on it. But part of the lease is like, part of the agreement is that it's a historical place, so there's a lot of stuff, upkeep, that has to be paid for, including the entire place has to be painted inside and out every 5 years, I think, like repainted fully.
Right.
And let's see, Trevor and I, oh shoot, we looked it up. The house has, oh, I'll have to look it up again and see how many rooms. It's not like insane. It's a little, it's bigger than Frogmore Cottage, or Frogmore House, but basically Charles is paying for him to live there because Andrew can't afford it, and he's paying for his private security. So if he would move to Frogmore, like Charles would like him to, then the Windsor grounds, like it's on Windsor grounds, so like it would fall within that security detail, and that wouldn't be an added expense.
Gotcha.
No, right? But he's dragging his feet and like won't leave. So now that was as of a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure nothing has changed. Let me see. Prince Andrew, let's see, won't move out. Yeah, won't leave house.
Well, and I would think that the majority of Britons would object more to the fact that Andrew is getting security than paying
Exactly.
for Harry and Meghan to have
Right?
security.
Isn't that nuts?
With how much people hate Meghan, which is so
I know.
like I said, I'm not a huge,
Right.
I,
So
politically and things like that, but I don't, this bad press that she gets is so unfounded.
it
So-
is, I would say, so as of June 1st, Andrew, so Prince Andrew's Royal Lodge is crumbling, but Duke still won't leave despite Charles doubling efforts to evict him. So, I guess I didn't realize that it was like, oh yeah, they're taking pictures of like outside of the home. Here, let me do like the share screen thing. Because let's see, share screen, Prince Andrew's Royal Lodge. Okay, so that you can see it too.
Sure.
So, okay, so you see like right there, the wall, like where it's like crumbling. So that shouldn't be happening. There it is again.
Right.
Because he's supposed to be painting it. Let's see, does it say how often he's supposed to be repairing it?
I'm sorry, that's great. He's a prisoner of his own pride. There was a little quote down there that
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, right there, that Andrew has now become a prisoner of his own pride as he refuses to bow to his brother's wishes.
It's so stupid. Well, he's like sort of become a prisoner anyway because he has to stay hidden away. Like,
yeah, right.
So on the Royally Obsessed podcast, they were saying how he essentially stays in his home all the time anyway, kind of like, I don't know, watching TV or whatever, and like I guess might go out riding a horse or something, like might go out a little bit here and there,
Right.
but it's sort of becoming like a hermit anyway, which is kind of what we all need him.
Right.
Right? Like if you're not going to be in actual prison for your alleged crimes.
Right. Hey, Amy, you're just jogging my memory. About
Yeah.
to go again, PBS. Well, I also get a offshoot of PBS up here called PBS or WETA UK.
Mm-hmm.
So they strictly show British content, old, new, whatever. Sometimes like if I turn on the television at 8 o'clock and put it on this channel, every morning for the last at least 5 years, it's the same show at 8 o'clock. It's Monarch of the Glen. Anyway, so they ran a series and it was like a 5-part series. Didn't I tell you about that? I thought I texted you. It's called The Real Crown.
Did
The-
you? I might
yes,
have
The Real
lost it.
Crown.
Yeah,
And
The
it
Real
would
Crown.
show it was like a documentary
Oh,
on
yes, you did tell me about it.
family.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't watched it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So when they talked about Andrew,
Yes.
things that I heard that I hadn't heard before were in order to give him a solid place, I mean, he had to work, okay? So they
Right.
made him, I'm not going to get any of this right, whatever job it was that they made him, he was supposed to be like a consultant and a voice for some company, something to get money for England.
Mm-hmm.
And he would travel, and who did they interview? Was it somebody that he traveled with, somebody he worked with, who came and said he did nothing. And when they would have these banquets, he'd be sitting up there at the head table
Right.
and somebody would speak. And then they're like, well, let's hear from, His Royal Highness or whatever, the Prince Andrew. And he'd stand up and say, he knows more about this. He should be the one to talk, and sit down and say nothing.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he just was living on,
Right.
a dime and doing nothing in his
Doing
job.
absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Yes, at least that's what, that
You
the
could get away with it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta find that document because really, really,
I'm gonna
especially
have
I
to.
was like,
Yeah.
you're kidding me.
That's
So not only is he just, guilty without
friends
being,
with Epstein and who
yes,
knows what else.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So yeah, it just
Gosh. That's
so the more Britons hear about that, I'm surprised that, he's not being kicked off,
right.
but yeah, anyway.
So I was
Interesting
looking
documentary.
I was trying because there's like part of this article that says there's no way back. Let's see. Prince Andrew's reputation is damaged beyond repair, and he will never be able to engineer a return to public life,
Right.
according to one of Britain's top PR gurus. So, brand and culture expert Nick Eade, who runs East of Eden PR agency, called the shamed royal deluded for thinking he could ever return to royal duties and urged him to give up and enjoy his life in exile. That's
Right.
great, right? So
Yeah.
it follows the release of Scoop. Oh, right. I haven't watched this yet. A Netflix movie based on the 2019 interview he gave to the Newsnight. Have you
Right.
watched this? I forgot. I heard about it, that it was coming out. Scoop.
No.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, so I guess I gotta find it and watch it. So yeah, so Nick said there's no way back for him. He said, I think this perpetual idea that he could still be back. Nobody cares. He hasn't got fans. There's nobody out there who's going, we want to see Prince Andrew, not one single person. I think he has to realize that. But I think it's going to take a long, long time for him to actually understand. It's very diluted. In my opinion, the best thing that he could do is just enjoy his life. He's got gorgeous daughters. He has a great relationship with Fergie. He has
Yeah.
a lovely house. Just live a quiet life,
Exactly.
right? Reflecting on the interview 5 years ago, the fallout of which saw Andrew step back from royal duties for this foreseeable future, Nick compared the fallout to Frost versus Nixon and said he would have urged him not to do it. So, if you don't mind, I'll read it because this seems interesting. So he said, if I had been advising him, I would say, go quiet, be quiet, just go to ground. You're a prince. Enjoy the life that you lead, but do not open this can of worms because that's what it is. And there was no admission that a relationship with somebody like Epstein was terribly toxic. There was no idea that there were loads of victims of trafficking whose lives were completely ruined by Epstein. He didn't seem to think that the association he had with the man was anything but positive. I think his worst gaffe was obviously being in the interview and agreeing to it in the first place, for not realizing that he's actually going to be interviewed by a very, very good journalist who is going to ask him questions which he might not like. And he says, but I think what this has done is really shown how archaic Prince Andrew is in his opinions and thoughts. And he put, read the room. He's never read the room at all. So
I think
I
that
was like, that's great.
it is
Well
great.
said.
Very good. And going back to that documentary, there was where I don't know if you remember, you weren't born.
Mhm.
That 1981, I think it was, when a plane was shot down by Chinese um
Oh,
over over Scotland.
oh,
And
okay.
the Queen let him go and speak because he was a war hero having come back from the Falkland Islands.
Oh, okay.
And the things that he said were cold and unfeeling and did not go over well. It was kind of like, oh, we should have let him do that.
Right.
At least that's what, that's they said in the
That's
interview.
what they say.
Or
Right.
yeah, or
Right.
in this documentary. So yeah, he like I couldn't agree more. You have a good life and you have still
Right.
connections.
Right.
We're not asking you to go live in a shack out in the middle
Right.
of West Virginia. We're just
Right.
asking you to shut up.
And shockingly, you're not alone. Like Fergie lives with you. I don't know why.
I don't know
Like
why.
that is the one thing. So I don't listen to like she has like podcasts and does like readings of children's books and like I think she does like all kinds of stuff
She
that I
does.
hear about on the Royally Obsessed podcast. And they always talk about how much they love her. Like they love everything she does, but
Right.
they always go back to like, oh, why are you living with him?
Living with him.
like like that's the one thing. It's like, yes, everything is awesome about you, but we just don't understand like what
Well,
a
she was so in love with him and that they were good friends, even,
right, I know.
and they have two daughters together. Now they have grandchildren together. So
Right. And she
I
apparently she's probably the only one that understands his delusion.
correct,
Right? Like
correct. And
knows
accept him.
him.
And yes, yeah,
So he's lucky to have her, I guess it would be my point. Like I'm
yeah,
not saying she has to like give up on him. I'm just saying he is lucky because otherwise he would be very alone,
yes,
like
he
in his
would.
exile.
He
Yeah.
would, yeah. And you wonder what I think I read somewhere that he did apologize to his daughters. I don't know why anybody,
But really.
how we would know
Sure.
that. It's probably just speculation again, but
Right, right.
interesting stuff, interesting stuff. So
Yeah.
real quick,
Yes.
before we go, because I'm gonna
Mhm.
have to get going here,
Yes.
I want to hear about what's going on with this tea party that you're
Oh,
planning. If
yes.
you are so willing to talk about
I
it.
am willing to talk about it. Yes. So yeah, so I have got a call from a sorority at UCF. Um, I won't say which one because I don't know how to say sorority names.
Give me the symbols, but that's okay. Go ahead.
I know, yeah, it's like I'll say there's an alpha in it. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. The two letters are three.
I don't even know. I'm like
Okay.
trying to picture what the email address is.
Okay. No
Yeah,
big deal. Just curious.
yeah. I'll text you what the email is. Yeah, so you can
That's,
see.
yeah, that's my sorority. Delta, Delta, Delta. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. But so they are having something happening in August where it's a big event. I guess I don't think she said rush because I don't think it's that kind of thing, but it's like something with the freshmen, like I don't know. She explained that like at the beginning of the day, like everybody's kind of leaving to go out and do stuff in the morning, and then they will be coming back for afternoon tea. But the house is supposed to be set up for your event by 7 a.m. So she was saying like I could set up the night before and not have food there until 3 p.m.
Right. Oh my.
So, but it's for 160 people.
Right.
So, yeah, so I gave her my official quote yesterday, and so she thanked me, and she's gonna take a look at it. And but yes, this means I will be calling in obviously a caterer, which I've talked to you some about. And
Mhm.
then I have to buy some more tea sets and
Mhm.
storage containers to
Right.
transport them in. And I forget. I've started making a list because there's like lots. Obviously, I'll need servers like helping
Yes.
serve the tea, and I'm not sure yet uh if they want me to do like the afternoon tea where everybody has their own tea tray or like tiered cake stand at
Yes.
their
Yes.
table, or
Mhm.
if there's gonna be like a couple stations like that people go up kind of buffet style. So I'll be planned for that either way. And as
And
far
then
as
how many tables? Yeah, how many tables? is
yeah,
that?
so I've got to figure out how many tables, but I asked her if they had tables and chairs, and she said they'd be getting them. And so I referred her to, oh, I need to enter this into BNI. I referred her to Caesar Event Rentals in Orlando, and just said, like, here's who this is just who I suggest if you need someone, like if you haven't looked up people yet, here's
Right.
someone to go to. So yeah, so I'm not in charge of like tables and chairs or anything. And then I do plan on bringing in my new business friend slash family friend Zara, who is a uh, event planner, and she said, like, she'll help sort of brainstorm and like sort of plan it out and logistics and whatnot. So she is, I don't know if I've talked to you about her yet. She is Piper's stepmom, so she's Shebnam's niece, but
Okay.
she's like, I don't know, early 20s or whatever.
Right.
So she has graduated college and worked for like an event management company for a while, and now she's kind of out on her own. So like basically, Shebnam connected us because Sarah wanted to sort of start networking. So I brought her to BNI, of course. That was
Good.
the
Right.
first step.
Right.
And she's just like the loveliest person. But she it was great because like that day someone in our group said, oh, my son like just proposed to his girlfriend or whatever, they're getting married next February, I'll give him your number. And now she's working with him, so she's got like a
Oh,
wedding
great.
client.
Good, good. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm a connector, so I'm really
Yeah, I
happy
know, right?
when things work out. um but yes, so but here's a question for you before we go, that's still related. So the promotional products guy that I still represent, I call him Promo Dave,
Okay.
because he's not ex-husband Dave.
Gotcha.
So Promo Dave, we were talking and he was asking me, he said, it was sort of like a business exercise or whatever, that he had been through some training, and it's sort of like, what would you farm out if you could in your business, right? Like what would be the first thing that you took off your plate, kind of thing, right? And uh so I was thinking, like, aside from like marketing and like all the social media posting, basically like staying on top of that would be lovely.
Mhm.
But also I said, it was like, well, I guess if it gets to a certain point, I would want someone who like packs up all the china and like plans what all we're gonna need. And like
Right.
I just
Right.
show up to the event and help set it up.
Yeah.
That's what I would like.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I have to spread everything out on my dining room table, and
Right?
is it going to be this? Am I using this? And yeah,
Yeah. And
that
it's like, yeah, I run out of space. Like I set up like an 8-foot table in the garage, and like that's like my market table, right? And
right.
kind of set, that's like sort of my staging area of like, okay, I have like this thing and I have this thing. That's like the second staging area. Like in the house is the first
Right. Right.
area. Yeah. So
It's a lot. Well, so let's say that they get tables let's say that they have 10 tables
right.
well, you can't. That's 16 people at a
This
table.
will, yeah, right.
So if they have
So
16 tables with 10 apiece, they
right,
still have to be very large tables.
right.
You're going to need 16 cake stands. Yeah, that's
And I'd say, what do I have? 4, 5. I have 5 or 6, I think, at the moment. Yeah.
is
But
there anybody you could borrow from besides me?
perhaps.
Um,
Perhaps, yeah. Um, but I think like if they hire me and this goes through and I do this, then I would like to be set up to just basically be able to repeat it and do it
sure.
again, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like, and I've had people ask me if I could rent the extra china, and I was like, well, I'm the one who rents out china.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
honestly, it is, if you're willing to store it, it is better to just have it. Like,
Just to have, absolutely.
yeah, to just buy
And you
it.
have somebody who connects you, and and I go out on
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace sometimes or on eBay,
Mhm.
and I see these eh, lots of cups and
Yes.
saucers and stuff. I would hope that somebody could cut you a deal if you're looking
Right.
to just another,
Right. Well, and I figure like if, if I get hired, there will be a deposit. So once I have that, I would actually probably put my mind to going to garage sales, right? Because that, I feel like those are usually better deals than what's happening on Facebook Marketplace. Because on
Salvation
Marketplace,
Army.
they have the luxury of just sitting and waiting for who will pay it.
Yes, yes, Salvation Army.
Right. Oh yeah, I
Goodwill,
usually do. Yeah, Goodwill is where I
thrift
get a lot of
stores.
my glasses.
Yes,
Yeah.
thrift stores for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you can, if you end up having to pay $10 for one, God forbid,
Right.
that maybe if you can get a couple of them for $2 or $3. I don't know if you
That's
have a,
what usually, yeah, I was like, usually I feel like, yeah. So far on Facebook Marketplace, the cheapest uh teacups and saucers that are paired together are like $8. But I know that I can probably get them at Goodwill for 5 or less. You know.
yes. Do you have Second Avenue? Second
Not
Avenue
that I
thrift
know
around
about. What's
here?
that?
Second Ave, it looks like Second Ave ABE thrift
Okay, let me
superstore.
see.
And it's huge. It's like a Salvation Army store. And I got this for $3.
Oh,
When normally
cute.
it goes for, it's got the lid too.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Just FYI. Um, yeah,
No thrift store. No, it's showing me Virginia and
there you go.
Maryland,
Okay. All right.
Pennsylvania. Sorry, that's something you got.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, like I said, I know that there's stuff out there, and if you're like, hey, I'm willing to buy your cups and saucers,
Right,
and I'm looking to buy a lot, can you,
right,
instead of, whatever it is, $8 a piece, $10 a piece,
right,
can
right.
you deal for,
Well, and I know, yeah, and I know people who are in the estate sale business.
yes,
Sometimes she tags me in things when I she sets. So like if I just let her know probably like, hey, I'm actually in the market right now. Like if you're working on a sale, right? Like one's coming up, yeah, like let
would you be
me know.
willing to buy a set, for example, let's say I die tomorrow, and I've got my set of 12 Noritake. They're all ivory and gold with a
Right.
white button that you can barely see, but it's really pretty. Would you be willing to have a set like that? I mean, where you could get, 10 to
Yeah.
20, 10, 12 of them right there. I mean, they may
Oh,
be
yes. Yeah, I mix and match sets. So I have cups that are like full sets. Yeah. It's
okay.
just that I
Okay.
mix them up. So yeah. So I would
Absolutely.
be I buy them that way too. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually more often than that. Well, it's because I'm given them oftentimes, right? From people who don't
Right.
want them. So I have
Right.
like
Right.
full
Right.
sets with matching plates and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think yeah, gold flatware, that's what I was thinking. I'll have to because I like to use gold flatware and
Oh,
I'd
okay.
have to find out if anybody's selling that because that came through a family.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. You may just have to have some silver on hand.
That's
Just
true. Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, that's true. I
And
know.
those there are sets like that out there all the time. And I know people want money for them, and unfortunately they just don't sell like they used
Yeah,
to.
right, right.
Well, if I come across, I mean, the thing is, if I come across
It's
anything
in your
here, then
area.
we have to deal with shipping and
Yeah,
handling.
yeah. So it's
And
not,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and for silver, that's bulk weight right there.
Oh, yes, I know.
Minute,
Yes,
so.
this gold flatware was shipped to me from Kansas by the loveliest person in the family. It was like so nice. He's like, "Do you want this? Like, we don't want it." I was like, "Oh my God." This is from
Yeah,
Dave's side of the
yeah,
family.
okay,
It's like,
yeah,
"Oh my gosh, yeah."
right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you grab what you can, and that's
Right.
so pretty. Yeah, really
Yeah.
nice.
So, okay. Well, this was lovely.
It was.
Yeah, what's funny is like I forgot that we started at noon. So like when we were getting close to 1, I was thinking we'd only been talking since 12:30.
Oh, no, it's been 90 minutes. Plus the 7 minutes conversation we had beforehand that,
I know.
nobody else agreed to.
Oh my gosh,
The
that's
never
great.
complain, never explain. It actually happens on the
That's right. Yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah.
We do
Exactly.
our complaining and explaining on the front end of that. So
Exactly.
and in the
Yeah.
texting between.
Yeah.
So yeah, let me know how things go and
Okay.
how they progress with
Yes.
this sorority. I would love to hear from
I'll
it.
let you know. Yes,
I'm so
absolutely.
stifled that I cannot be there to be
I
your
know, I know. Yeah, as you
lend
pointed
you
out,
my 80 teacups and saucers.
if you had
I
moved
know.
here with all your
Yes,
tea sets, we would
yes,
combine
exactly.
forces.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It would have been so much easier. So
Yeah.
anyway, All right. Well,
Okay.
good to see you. Good to talk
Yes,
to
lovely
you.
to see you.
Keep in
Yes.
touch.
Thanks so much. I'm gonna finally post all of our videos. I realized last night I haven't posted anything since like January.
That's not a problem. Not a problem. All
So
right,
yeah.
then. All
Okay.
right. Well, listen, enjoy your summer. We
Thank
will
you.
get another date on our calendar here pretty
Yes.
soon. And but we always text in between.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, then. All right.
Okay,
Well, you take care of
wonderful.
yourself.
All right, thank
All right.
you. Cheery
Bye.
bye.
Now, cheery bye.